Welcome everybody to what I believe is the 8th episode of the third period. Am I good? All right.
You got it.
The 8th episode of the third period, NBHL's only and best weekly webcast. I'm your host, Darren Basfajan, and with me again, another change up in the rotation. First, we have returning is Chris Clément, also known as Big, which I will try and remember to call him the rest of the show. Thanks for coming back, Chris.
No problem. My pleasure.
Great debut, great rookie season. Let's see if you keep it up or if you're going to go into sophomore slump. I don't know. And returning is the Commish, which is apparently going to be his nickname now, Sean Guerrero. Sean, thanks for being here. And Sean, welcome back.
You missed the memo.
Well, what memo did I miss?
Man.
Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know. I see suits and shirts. Mind you, it's really hot and humid here, so I actually don't regret my decision. The only decision I regret is going to play a bit of basketball. Here at the Sportira Cage, our friendly sponsors, thank you for allowing us to use your facilities to record this wonderful webcast. And thank you to Eagle at Master Control. You have an eagle sound? I don't have my headphones on. Okay, thank you. So thanks for all the knob turning that you do. Guys, let's continue on our voyage down the divisions here. We've got, we're doing the K League, the L League, the N League, and then we're finishing off with the P League, I believe. That's what we're doing this week. Again, looking at the playoff pictures and breaking that all down. We've got quite a bit to get through. Last week was a bit rushed, I know. This week we don't have that problem. So let's enjoy our stroll through the K League. Let's start off with this one here. So, first of all, we've got the Mighty Ducks at the top of the league. St. Louis Savage, Bench Warmers, the A's, or Les As, I'm not sure.
It's A's, yeah.
A's? Okay, good. Les Black Clouds, Lions, Tasmanian Devils, Maguire's Monsters, Fury, Used Parts. That's 10 of the top 12, and those are the playoff teams, I believe, right?
Exactly.
As of right now. And then we have the Mighty Bears and Victoria's Secret bringing up the rear. 3 and 4 points respectively behind the last spot. Let's start off with, Chris, let me come to you. Big, I should say.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on this league? How's it gone? Has it gone as expected? Are there some surprises for you?
I think overall, looking at the league, it's gone pretty close to what we would expect. A couple of surprises, though, for me would be, first of all, Used Parts. This is a team that has some guys that resemble other teams we've seen before, like Piranhas or Vintage, guys like that. I'm looking at guys like Chris Callihu, Jimmy Goro, Wes and Pirate Van Wyck, some legitimate established veterans in the league. To have them so low right now is a bit of a surprise to me. I expected them to be somewhere in the middle, and now they're fighting for their playoff lives. So I expect them to be a little higher. And
but they're a team I don't want to play in the first round. That's the
like
thing,
we were
right?
talking about last week.
You know, like what's nice about these 12-team leagues is the odds of making that playoff is a lot higher than if you're in a 10 or an 8-team league, right?
Yeah.
And for Used Parts, they know that's the game they're playing, right? Yeah. They know they just squeak in, even if it's by the skin of their teeth. That whoever's facing them, if they take them lightly, you're done.
Catch a team napping.
Oh,
for sure. I had Black Clouds too, and I think that's a team like I've played with the lads before in a bit of a higher division. They had some pretty weak seasons, and now they're in a league where they've been able to establish themselves. One guy on that team that we can't talk enough about is Alex.
Luffy?
Luffy. He's incredible. And then one of my buddies, Olivier Godard, we call him TL, he plays on that team too. He's a guy that started playing 3 seasons ago and just is incredibly improved. So
the secret's out on Alex. Yeah. His ranking's going up, Alex, I can assure you.
Yeah, he's a great player. I saw him play in the A1 game I was refereeing, and the guy's got wheels.
Exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's a difference maker for that team. Yeah. You shut him down, the picture for that team changes dramatically. Yeah, they got some other guys. They've definitely improved over their first season.
They have some new guys we need to look for too.
100%, but he's the backbone of that offense, especially, right? So
on the flip side, I think Mighty Ducks at the top of the division. I mean, you look at 3 of the guys on that team, and Robbie Moss, Ryan Golden, and Ryan Labrie. Not much needs to be said. I think they're top 3 in scores in the league, right? So definitely elite players. And then a team like A's, they wear yellow T-shirts, kind of like my brother's team, the Kodiaks, but they have the Oakland A's logo.
All right, I was wondering where that background.
Yeah.
Growing up, I played for the Lackady A's, Bill Saint Laurent. So I thought it was a nod to that. We used to have the Whalers colors, but no.
But speed with these guys is a huge factor. And talking a bit about last time, maybe matching up with a team like Used Parts and putting that to your advantage is a huge factor. So
talked a bit about the Mighty Ducks, but St. Louis Savage are tied at the top in terms of points. Obviously, they have 2 ties that are playing in their favor. Comparing these 2 teams, is there one that jumps out? I know you mentioned the Mighty Ducks before, but how about St. Louis Savage? Are they for real?
Listen, I managed these guys playing against each other the other night. The game got a little heated at the end. I think they knew that first place was up for grabs.
Yeah.
I'd say that overall, in terms of scoring depth, Mighty Ducks have the edge.
Yeah.
But the bond and the unity that these guys in St. Louis Savage has is incredible.
It's insane. I mean, I had the displeasure of playing Bona when he was
Bona, yeah, hell of a captain.
Zodiac. I know.
Yeah.
Played for Zodiac, and this guy was a machine. Like every time he was on, I said, cover him. So his intensity and passion just like permeates through that whole team, and everyone comes to the game playing 110%.
They're there about a half hour before.
I know.
I've seen them getting ready. I don't know if they have strategy meetings in the locker room for the game, but
I actually think it's a great idea. Personally, as a person who's always late to my games, I would find it very helpful to be on time.
I had the Facebook group going with my team when I started in the league, and we had the strategy for each game and the roster. So hey, listen, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think on the defensive end, though, that St. Lo might have the edge with Manny Tritakis in
That's
it. He's one of the best. I think his numbers. I mean,
if you're less than 2 goals a game in goals against, he's at what?
He's 1.82 with an 89 save percentage.
Yeah, it's nuts. So that's gonna be, and then those things win championships. So Carey Price, he didn't win one, but he brought us to the brink, right?
It's not us. You don't play on the team.
Well, I represent.
That's like me last time saying us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like I'm part of the crew now, though.
Well,
I'm getting in there.
See, I mean,
You haven't accepted me yet, though, officially.
No, you can say us about us, but you can't say us about the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
Unless you're drawing a paycheck from them, in which case, please share.
All right, yeah.
But otherwise, yes. But your point is very, very valuable. In the playoffs, it's team cohesion and goaltending. That's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're saying that that's kind of something that they have a strength in, well, that's a hell of a strength to have.
If these guys were to play each other in the finals of the playoffs, so if that were ever to happen in 1 versus 2 right now, I would recommend coming and watch it because it got a little heated. It was a great game to watch.
I think that would be on paper the predictive finals. I got to go. If I'm looking at a playoff picture, this one's pretty much. I'll say playoffs are looking wrapped up. I mean, Mighty Bears, Victoria's Secret. If they were in the bottom but on a winning streak,
tough go.
I could say they may have a chance. I mean, Victoria's Secret just had a huge win in their last game.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it too little, too late for them? Mighty Bears look to be on a downward slide at 0-5 in the last 5 games. I'm saying right now they have to get like every win for the last games of the season. I don't see it happening.
I think so.
And I'm looking at the bench warmers and Lions. Lions, when the last time I spoke about them, they were like on the bottom. We didn't understand it. They got some good pieces with John Shukri and.
Are they a new club, Sean? Or are they new?
They're new. A lot of guys.
Different name of an old team?
No, new team run by John, but a lot of guys have played in the league before.
Okay.
So newish,
right. Exactly. But they're 4-0-1 in their last 5 games, as so are benchwarmers.
Right.
So they're on the rise.
Yeah.
Right. Like Mighty Ducks are still doing very strong, but I would say those would be my top 4: Mighty Ducks, St. Lo, benchwarmers, and Lions. The way these guys are playing right now, can they be beat?
This is the time to pick it up, right?
That's it. You want to be going winning into the playoffs, not
definitely
sliding backwards.
Any key matchups that you guys have singled out going down the stretch? Although the playoff picture, as you mentioned, Sean, is pretty much settled, but is there anything that caught your eye? You could say no.
Not really. I mean, it's
all right. So K-League, we're done with you.
Yeah. No, it's really going to be the guys who are sliding backwards, like Maguire's Monsters, going into playoffs. They're 0-4-1 the last 5 games. They need a win.
Yeah.
So whoever they're playing in the next game, they need to get some momentum going in, or they're going to look at an early exit come playoff time. So it's those guys need to be on a positive stretch. Yeah. Otherwise, facing those top 4, I would say it's going to be trouble.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just going to say, I mean, I pointed out a couple, but I think Sean's absolutely right. The teams that are lower generally have to start winning now. I had Fury against Used Parts on the 27th, and then next week we got Maguire's Monsters playing in a big game too. So I think it's the time of year to.
Then since I can't make guys hate you by pushing them in or out of the playoffs, since Victoria's Secret and Mighty Bears already hate you guys for calling them out at this point. But
sorry, Alex.
But we assume Mighty Ducks and St. Louis Savage are the top 2 teams. Who is the team from the bottom rungs that you think have the potential to pull off an upset? If you have to pick one.
I know I talked a lot about Lions, and I still think they're one. Tasmanian Devils, the Sikanofri brothers. I know, I'm sorry. I know. I just think they're a...
That's why he's the commish, big.
Yeah, they raise the intensity when it comes to playoff times. No one likes playing them. They just know they're in for a battle every game against them. I think that's a sneaky team that could
those grinding guys, right, that just wear you down, know just the line where to... what to do, not get called for penalties, but just push it enough.
They're not fun to play against.
They're absolutely not fun to play against. I had them too, and to be honest, Black Clouds have really impressed me this season. I don't know if you classify them as a bottom team, but they're 6 points out of first.
Going into the season, I was like, oh, here, come on, guys, and to see them there is nice. It's good.
Yeah.
So nobody from Maguire's Monsters, Fury, Used Parts.
Sorry, guys, I just don't see it right now. They haven't shown me something that really is going to tip them into my books of saying, they're the legitimate contender.
Because am I correct in assuming, as usual, it's first round is 1 game, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's a big equalizer. You just need to have one bad game, and then suddenly a top seed's completely gone.
That's why we play the games.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
But you don't see it.
I just, on paper,
right.
based on what I've seen, no.
So the bottom of the division hates your guts.
Yep.
Listen, I have two guys in particular in this league that if their teams make the playoffs, I think it's single-handedly will win a game. I have, like I said before, Manny Trkakis playing for the St. Louis Savage with 1.82 goals against and an 89.5 save percentage.
Ridiculous numbers.
And then Lindsey McLean is a guy, if Fury makes it in, he is the guy on the team. He's got a bit of help with Andrew Thomas this year.
Yeah.
But a guy that really carries his team in terms of production. So I think
but that's the thing. If he's not hot, there's not much to rely. Andrew needs Lindsay. That's the thing. You know, it's not vice versa. You know, like it's more of that one directional.
Well, I think Hugh demands a lot from him too as a captain.
Yeah, so he's awesome. Right?
He doesn't take his foot off the gas. Right?
Final thoughts on the K-League before we move on.
I mean, looking at it, I think the playoff picture is once you hit to the semis. I think the semis are going to be insane. Look to see Mighty Ducks and St. Louis in the final, though. I think at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be any major upsets too, but if there are, I'm taking a dark horse team in Benchwarmers.
Okay.
Third place team.
I like it.
Real dark horse. Stepping out on a limb here, right? Like a dark horse team, but
it's better than Sean.
I'll give him a break.
No, that's not how we do things.
Yeah.
If you want to be accepted as part of the team, you got to rip Sean.
Fine.
That is a goal.
Benchwarmers would be my team, and big thing that I don't know if we've talked about, but their special teams are incredible. They're 18 for 18 on the PK, rolling at 100%, and their special teams, their power plays at rolling at 30%. So in the playoffs, when one goal can make such a difference, and team run a guy like Mish Gruskowski, I mean, another tight run ship. So.
Guy's been around the block a couple of times.
He knows the game.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my dark horse team, my final thought.
All right, let's go. We'll see how that plays out as the season rolls on. Let's jump into the L League right now. L, we've got their overall standings here. The Chalupa Bangers leading off. Then we got the Red Wings, Banana Hammocks, Knights, UHC, Les Coupes Longueuil, Beaverbait, Red Bulls, Hannifix, and Top Cheese. That's your top 10. Those are your playoff teams as of right now. Yep. And then you've got the Hattrick Swayzes and Crazy Ducks. Hattrick Swayzes tied with Top Cheese at 4 points, and the Crazy Ducks 1 point behind for that last spot. It really looks like it's going to be those last three teams fighting for
that last spot.
It's pretty much guaranteed at this point. Yeah. Everybody else is pretty much in, but that should bring an interesting final few weeks. Let's start off with you this time, Sean. What's played out as expected? What's played out differently for you?
Interestingly, what's played out as expected was the Chalupa Bangers and Red Wings. I think we all saw them emerging at the top. Banana Hammock was one I think Vassal and I spoke about last time. They were in the middle of the pack, and we said that is deceptive. We figured they were going to emerge and start to move up the rankings, and they did as expected. Coupes Longueuil, they fell part of it. They were at the top of the standings the last time we spoke, and now they have since slid to the middle of the pack. Does that mean we could count them out? Absolutely not. Yep. But that was a shocker to me. I mean, I watched them, and they're a young team. They're fast. They're physically fit. So to see them slide that much was a bit shocking to me.
But young teams often, I find in my experience in this league, they'll often start off hot out of the gate because they're in better shape, because they're more excited.
Young, not 20, they're like in the low 30s.
But you're also saying like young and experienced in the league as well.
No, these guys have experience.
Okay,
just with their physically shaped, young, like they're not 40 years old. They're not like
that's what I'm saying.
Can go for
but then when you get further on in the season, suddenly that speed and athleticism
the other teams adapt there, and I think you're right. Yeah, I think that does play. I've been in leagues like that too, where teams have adapted and adjusted their game to better suit defending that quicker style.
Basically, my team every season, but on the wrong side of
you're
the
one of the guys that adapts.
We start off hot. No, we don't adapt. That's the point. We start off hot, win some games, think we're hot stuff, and then after that falls apart. So it seems like Coupes Longueuil, maybe that's a bit of what's going on, but there's still time to turn it around, and they're obviously in a great spot for the playoffs. That's all you want to do.
You know what I mean? So they're probably not worried. There's not that stress of getting in, but
but it is a bit worrying when suddenly the tide turns.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Chris?
This is a league that I manage directly, so I've seen most of these teams a few times, and I think it's a really interesting league. Like you said, the bottom three teams are going to be fighting to get into the playoffs. A big surprise for me has been Hattrick Swayzes. I know we mentioned it last time. Chris Cameron is an elite goalie in the HL. Mm-hmm. I think that their problem this season in watching them play has been a lack of goal scoring. So maybe next season, just being able to bring on that one guy that fits in the point cap and being able to get some scoring.
They've had roster issues though. I mean, they might have
too. I mean,
they've had some trouble.
Tom's got some guys not.
That's
coming.
They had. I mean, I saw them last night play. They had like 5 guys. You know, I mean, you're not going to win if you did. I mean, but the thing is, I don't think they realize it. Like, guys, you're a win away from making the playoffs, and then it's a whole new season.
Yep.
You know, so I mean,
because you look at that record, 1-7, 1-7-2. That's not a good record. Nobody's going to argue that that's something to aspire to, but at the same time, when you're a game away, it doesn't matter. All you want to do is make it.
Exactly.
You spoke a bit about Coupe Longueuil slipping down. I think another team that's done so is UHC in terms of the standings anyway, because they were right in first place when we did the last episode. I've played for this team. Can't say enough about Bhavish Patel. For me, him and Jeff Howells are the two guys. When you think of a captain that constantly brings in new players, knows the game really well. The guy's got 4, I don't know if they're brothers or cousins together, the Delgadios. They've slipped a little bit, but I don't care where they finish. They're not a team you want to play in the playoffs.
Exactly.
The guy is so passionate about the game. He's, I think, first or second all time in leading in assists.
Something like that.
So he knows how to use his guys effectively on the floor, and I don't expect them to do poorly in the playoffs at all.
No.
And then a couple of teams that just I've expected to, like you said, Red Wings, Chris Cali, who is a veteran presence on the team.
That was huge for them to pick him up. That was a big pickup for them.
Yeah. They have no real top scorers, like in terms of guys that jump out on the page. Most of their guys are around point per game from what I've seen. Matt Konstantakis.
Exactly.
Matt Konstantakis in goal has been incredible. The guy is like a Manny Trakakis in this league. He steals games. Final thought just on that is Banana Hammocks. It's a really tight-knit group. I think that's why they have so much success. They play with Trailer Park Boys. They play with Bermingas. It's all the same guys on most of the teams. And then you got Mike Brissot and Chris Calantonio that I think slip below the radar sometimes.
We caught Mike now, and that's it. No more free rides for Mike.
They're great guys. They're really good players. They play the game the right way, but they're effective in a tight-knit group.
No, exactly. I mean, and then they're coming off a championship. I mean, they know what it takes. That's why when we saw them in the
middle, they beat my team in the finals.
There you go.
Stop talking about that.
Sorry, man. I had to bring it up. We know. Like every time there's a team just like UHC. Like that's the interesting part about this league is you got Banana Hammocks, UHC, who are riding in the middle, but we know they could be a top level team in this league, and then they still got to contend with Chalupa and Red Wing. It's like.
And then you got a team like Knights with a guy like Matt LaBranche in nets who can single-handedly steal a game. So this league, to me, from what I've seen, yes, there seems to be like a split between the top and the bottom. I expect one of the top half teams to win. You never know what's going to happen in the playoffs, but
for Knights though, Matt's insane. Like he's. Nice. I mean, when you look at Matt's and both Matts, if you will. 12 goals and 17 goals against respectively. That's half of what the rest of the goalies are doing. Right? That's insane. The difference though, Red Wings can score. Knights are struggling in the scoring department. And how is that going to play on the playoffs? I mean, the captain James, he knows this. He's always saying like our goaltender is everything to us. We're not discounting that, but they work hard. If they just get that 2-1 win, that's all it takes. At the end of the day, right? It's not by how much did you have more than the other one.
There's a lot of teams in this division that like those 2-1 wins, like a team like Handfix too. Led by Julien Belzile. They played for so long. A guy like Jeeps Dominic on the team with the Abdel brothers. Anything can happen.
Handfix MO, right? It's like just get enough to
Well, you guys kind of covered the top half or top 2/3. Let's look at the bottom here because that's where the final races will be coming into play. We've got Top Cheese, Hat-Trick Swayzes, and Crazy Ducks. Let's just get right into it. Sean. You got to pick one of these 3 teams. Who you got?
I got to go Top Cheese. I know it's the easy one because of the top of the but Hat-Trick hasn't brought out the personnel. I mean, Dave on the team is leading the scoring. It's just he needs some support. At the end of the day, they just don't have enough of it to generate enough offense to, I think, make that final push. Crazy Ducks have struggled in this league. I mean, Girish and Grippy are just awesome guys, but I think that, they just found themselves a bit head over to, under the water a bit. But I think Top Cheese, new team. Dealt with some geographical issues, and I think they can piece it together.
I think they have to stay out of the box if they're gonna make it in. They have some guys that are close to the 35 penalty minutes a game, which
that changed everything.
When you come to a new league, not to say that they're bad guys, but you got to adjust to the style. There's different leagues that play the game differently. Sure, come to the NBHL, you adjust. I have to agree with Sean from seeing the league and say Top Cheese gets in too. They're playing Red Bulls on July 28th. They play a similar aggressive style, so that'll be a fun one to watch. I hope I'm managing that one. But I just don't see Hat-Trick Swayzes having the scoring depth to get into the playoffs. And the Crazy Ducks, while Girish, great guy, I find they have too many pieces. They need to really work on getting that cohesion as a team to come together.
Final thoughts on this league?
So I have to make.
I'll come back to you. Chris, since you're the manager, you managed a lot of these games. What are your final thoughts
on this division? We have 2 goalies that can single-handedly steal games. We have a guy in Jonathan Pema for Chalupa Bangers, who's a former Q player that the guy just scores from anywhere. So Chalupa Bangers might be a little bit of a favorite going in. But I think my pick and maybe it's because I played for them, is going to be UHC.
Right.
I don't care where they finish. You have the Delgadios, you have Stefan, Alessandro, Marco, and Joey.
You got a lot of depth.
A lot of depth, a lot of kind of like the brotherhood mentality and the tight-knit group. They play a style where they don't give you an inch. They use the floor effectively. They know their matchups, and that's all due to Bavesh. So my final thought is that UHC is a team that you don't want to go up against in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Whoever they play against is going to be in for a long ride.
Yeah.
I've seen Red Wings win a championship against the top team in the league last year, Matt Lebanon, with 7 guys. They just have an ability to capitalize on their scoring chances. As good as Chalupa Bangers, I've seen Red Wings do to them as they in the past.
Yeah.
So my pick would be Red Wings in this one.
Plus the goalie, right?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
When you have 12 goals against in 9 games, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's I mean, if you can't score them, all they need is 2-3 goals. They got Chris at the backdrop to support them, and then. I think Red Wings are, for me, the favorite in this league.
I don't know if I can argue with the commission on that one. It's a pretty solid pick right there.
So are you changing? Are you flip-flopping?
No, I'm not flip-flopping. I'm staying firm, but that might be a
solid second pick.
Yeah, solid second pick. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I like you guys didn't pick the top team. I'm going to do that because I haven't picked anything yet, and I like fans too. So Chalupa Bangers, I'm on your bandwagon.
Sorry, Sean.
All right, so that's it for the L.
Yep.
Let's move on to the N. N is slightly different than the other ones, so bear with me, guys. The overall standings, they go 1 through 12. But there are 2 separate divisions here, and they go 1 through 6, and it's 5 out of the 6 that make it. So let's go through the 2 different divisions. First of all, we have the Conference A, which has the Golden Boys, followed by the North Stars, the Eskimo Brothers, the Bengals, the A-Team, and Ricky Spanish Hockey. Right now, Ricky Spanish Hockey is sitting 1 point out of that playoff spot. And then Conference B, we've got the Punishers, the Magic Bullets, the Bromingas, Wolfpack, usual suspects, and then 2 points back of them are Asbar Plus. A little bit more difficult for them, but still very manageable. Let's start off with conference. Do you guys want to do this conference by conference, or we just look at picture of the whole thing?
I think in the first 2 games of the playoffs, it is going to be intra-division, so I think we have to look at it in that way.
As a conference? Okay, so let's break it apart. So then let's look at Conference A. Golden Boys, North Stars, Eskimo Brothers, Bengals, the A-Team, Ricky Spanish Hockey. Big. As expected, surprises?
Not really any surprises. Golden Boys were a new team, but they have some established names in the league. Frank Manganiello is monster, lights out.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy that can single-handedly carry a team. Eskimo Brothers. I was actually talking with my brother about this the other day. There was a team in the league called the Gamblers at one point. To me, these guys are the Gamblers because of the amount of penalties they take and still pull out wins. It's very impressive. I think they're 9 power plays, 33 or something times short-handed. Bunch of great guys. Like they're great, but they play a little bit aggressive.
Play, right? That's the game. I mean, we were talking about this last time. I saw them play Punishers, and they got under Sanjay and the entire team's skin.
Can work.
And it is effective. That's how they win games. Guys hate the Eskimo Brothers. I feel like I'm on repeat because I said the exact same thing last time.
This feels familiar.
And that's why they're so effective, because they just destabilize a team. And in playoff times, that's if a one-game showdown, that's it.
Yeah.
You lose your head, you're losing that game, and that's the Eskimo Brothers play.
Yep.
They're young. They're they're fast. They may not have the scoring touches like a Golden Boys, but if they get in your head, you are going to crumble quickly.
I guess it depends how the game's being called and
the
different factors. But looking down that Division 2, next we have North Stars. That's a team that to me is very offense-based. Nick Cinquino put together.
A lot of experience too. That team
a lot of experience. Yeah.
You know, that's an older team. And when you look at this division, I think the average is like double versus every other team of the age.
Yeah.
Yet here they are, sitting at second atop the rest of that division. And that's undoubtedly Nick's leadership. Nick Cinquino is the captain. You know, assimilating a team that, while older, it compensates for that with just great ball possession, great knowledge of where each other are going to be.
Agreed.
And
experience both in Laval and in the NBHL too. They've played in a few different leagues.
Yeah, exactly. They just know how to play ball hockey, right?
Yeah.
And they're teaching these guys like how to do it.
And then going down, you got the Bengals. That's a tight-knit group of guys. A lot of leadership on that team too. These guys hate to lose.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And I really like their jerseys too. They got some new jerseys designed. I like those a lot. The A-Team, they started 0-5. I think they've really picked it up.
This was
you noticed the one big pickup they had. I think.
Yeah, Chris Diabo.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say enough about this guy. You know, unbelievable player. He's got 5 goals in I think 4 games or something like that.
He played on the lads as a spare for.
I remember Brent, the captain, texted me. He's like, "So how can I bring this guy out? And I said, yep. He's like, thank you. And then from there on, like, watch the train just roll, right? And I feel bad for teams like the A-Team and Ricky Spanish. They kind of got the crappy end of the stick being in a division this competitive.
Man,
you know,
I said this last week, but Julian Fierro is one of my favorite captains in the league.
Oh, yeah,
he gets his guys together. They're losing. He's super polite to the refs, super polite to us. He plays the game the right way. He plays intense, but he plays fair. And it's disappointing to see them solo. But again, look at the league, right? They're at 8, and then the 4th place team's at 11.
Oh yeah, no, that's why they're just in an unfortunate division where they have to fight for their lives.
Yeah,
but it's against very good teams. It's very evenly matched.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
and what happened to Ricky is I think they had a slow start.
Yep.
And that's now hurting them a bit. Now they have to fight for their lives because they had that.
Sometimes climbing out of the hole hurts.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
So then let's look at Conference A here. It's looking like it's going to be the A-Team and Ricky Spanish Hockey fighting for that last spot.
Yep.
This is becoming my catchphrase. Let's make some enemies. Sean, who you got?
If the A-Team can keep Chris Diablo in the lineup, I got to give it to the A-Team.
Yeah.
I just think he, as a 2-point player in that level, with his shot, he just makes a difference. He can score from half.
It's hard to say though because Ricky Spanish works so hard.
Oh, they're insane.
They work so hard. I mean, I think I've got Ricky Spanish coming in simply alone on the fact that they've played a few more seasons. They have the experience to get it done. I agree with you that Chris Diablo is a hell of a player, but I don't think that the A-Team has that experience just to get over that final hump, and I think Ricky Spanish does.
Well, I think if you look at the teams, they're letting in the same amount of goals, so I think defensively, goaltending, they're relatively at par with one another, but when you look at scoring, 38 goals for versus 25 in favor of the A-Team. That's going to, down the stretch, that's going to pay dividends that maybe the Ricky Spanish, despite all their efforts, may not be able to overcome as a deficit. We'll see.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we've got one on the A-Team. We've got one on Ricky Spanish. And I'm going to be the tiebreaker here. And I will always approve of a team unit over an indivial effort.
Right,
so it sounds to me like I'm going with Ricky Spanish. Also, I like the name. So there you go.
Yeah.
I don't really get the reference, but either way, I'm enjoying it. Let's move on to Conference B.
Yep.
Conference B, we have.
You just made an enemy right there, right?
It's okay. I'm very used to that.
You'll never see Darren
again. As you get to know me very well, you will know that I am feared / hated by many people.
Fair enough.
So you see, we got Eagle at Master Control. Very on board with that as one of the haters, but it's all good. It's all good, man. Whether they hate you or love you, at least they know you, right?
Yeah.
Conference B, we got the Punishers, the Magic Bullets, the Bromingas, Wolfpack, Usual Suspects, and Asbar Plus. Again, it's looking very likely that it's going to come down to the last two spots. The last spot being fought by those last two teams. But let's take a look at it team by team. You did a great job of it, Big. It sounds like you're auditioning for my spot, which is fine because I have to go on my honeymoon in a few weeks. So that's fine by me. Break it down for us. Start off with the Punishers.
Yeah, looking down at the list, start off with Punishers. A big factor on that team is the three Evans brothers. We got Scotty, Ryan, and David. Also, they got Sanjay and Nets, friend of the league. What else can you say? I mean, the guy's everywhere. I think he played on your team back in the Rapid Fire back in the day.
Yeah.
My first NBHL memories playing you guys. Solid team right there. I mean, they're a quick team. Bromingas, again, this is a team that we just talked about, Banana Hammocks. This is basically the same roster.
Exactly.
Not going to repeat everything I said, but tight-knit group right there. Magic Bullets are a bunch of guys, I think from the eastern part of the island.
Exactly.
That come out every game and give it everything, and guys that love to play in the league and are very passionate about it, so I have nothing but good things to say about them.
Exactly.
Wolfpack, I managed them last night at the Club West Island. It was one of the most incredible turnaround games I've ever seen. They took a lead. The other team's goalie on Eskimo Brothers made an incredible save at the end, and Eskimo got a breakaway and scored for the win. They got together at the bench after the game, and the leadership, you could just tell on that team was like every guy had something to say. They all wanted to win so badly. The guys, what are we going to do next time? I admired the fact that they took a little time.
I mean, I love this team. I mean, one of our videos, Wolfpack had one of the greatest championship wins ever on an overtime face-off.
Was that in the G League, like one of the first seasons of the club?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that one.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. So these guys can never be counted out of the picture. And you're right,
about unity.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how many guys are family on the team, but I mean the name serves them well. Wolfpack.
Exactly. I mean, and they're an 8-point team, but I mean, they played Bengals, right? I mean, that's they're going heart to heart every single game.
Yeah. Another guy, Inshan Ali, on that team is
the classic pull in the middle wrist shot.
The guy's classic. And then
I've seen that many a time. And every time I mention Inshan, he comes and tells me, he's like, "Oh yeah, I see you talked about me or whatever." He's paying attention.
Yeah.
I know you're watching. I know you're watching, Inshan. We're all saying
we
good things.
just told a secret though. So he never cuts the middle, guys. Never.
No, yeah, seriously, he's on my team. Never. Just let him go to the middle. He won't. He won't.
He's gonna pass.
He's not gonna do it. And he's a passer. Yeah, that's
exactly.
Hey man, for all honesty, there are a ton of players in this league who are going through the fasting for Ramadan and all that. I am so impressed by their ability to...
Especially when it's so hot.
It's a blanket statement. I don't know how you guys do it, but hats off to you.
Yeah,
I can't...
seriously.
If I don't eat an hour or two before the game, I pass out. So good for you guys.
It's
getting back on track, though. Sorry. I felt that was the opportunity
this
to say
division is not as tight. I mean, Asbar is struggling. I would have to say they're probably not going to have enough in the bank to like make a push. Usual Suspects could, but they're climbing a really uphill battle. They got a game at hand, so that does improve things for them. If you give them a win, they're at 7 points as opposed to 5.
And they've been in the season, the league for a few seasons now, and Martin Bellemare does a nice job of bringing out some good quality players.
He's the guy they rely on, though. That's
they never have that one guy to get them over. They're always near like the middle to lower part of the division.
They're a 1-2 punch without the 2. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I have really nice things to say about them, but I think they need to add one of those impact guys on the team to.
That's it. I mean, I look at Usual. I love the guys, but I think if they get in, I don't know how long their future is going to last in that playoff run. I just don't think they have the depth to make a deep push into the playoffs versus like going up against Golden Boys in the next round. Like it's going to be it's going to be tough.
One more thing.
No, go right on it.
One thing I will say about Asbar Plus, you look at right now, they're 17 goals for and 46 against. This could be 17 goals for and easily 96 against. Sean McKeough has... I've been managing, I don't know how many games, like my hand is sore after putting the shots down. All the shots against this guy. He's absolutely incredible. Doesn't get rattled. He just keeps playing his game, gives his guys a chance. They're missing a bit on the scoring front. They need to address that, but like the guy is...
And this is a 2.5 point league, for cap-wise, but there's a lot of youth and speed in this league. So they may not every player in this league has the hands as a Frank, but Asbar is on the older side, and I think that's what's hurting them a bit. You put him in a league with teams more around their age, even though the same skill level, I think they do a lot better.
In the winter, you had him in a lower division. They did really well. It's hard sometimes to make those placements, right?
That's it.
I always wonder how him and Norman and Eric do. I don't know how these guys do, because it's sometimes the teams will complain, but usually they're spot on with the placement. So just a shout out to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just to follow up on that, they've allowed 289 shots. That's like 70 shots more than the next team up. So as you mentioned, that's way too much.
Could be worse though. Could be worse if not for the goalie.
Well, the shots are there. It's the goals.
Okay, right. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. 289 shots. I mean, in 10 games, that's that's like NHL. That's like 30 shots a game. That's
And when you look at these two divisions, just as a high level view, almost everyone in the top division is on a winning streak. Whereas almost every team, with the exception of Punishers in the bottom, is on a losing streak. So you see some shift towards that top half.
And like you were saying last time, league, we spoke about getting those wins coming together, stringing them together, going into the playoffs. Sometimes plays such a huge factor.
Exactly.
Some games coming up for me that are interesting. I don't know if we're going into that.
Go to it.
I had marked down here. I had the 18 playing Usual Suspects. That's a crossover game. That's tomorrow. That's going to be a big one. When Asbar Plus plays Bengals, if Asbar Plus is going to make it in, they have to win that game. And there's going to be a lot of orange on the floor, because Asbar has those new fluorescent orange jerseys. So there'll be a lot of orange. I'll have to bring my jerseys for that game. And then 18 playing Bengals again. That's going to be the final game of the season for the entire division, and that might come down to who's making it into the playoffs.
Off topic, but Sean, you're here. Those pink jerseys, burn them.
No, man, they never run a conflict if you got those pink jerseys.
They are like stained and brown, and I don't know what's going on with these jerseys. I saw them last week. Don't lie to me. Maybe you haven't seen them.
Who's your manager?
I will say, well, for myself anyway, we do wash the jerseys, but
I believe it, but some stains don't come out. Yeah,
used for so many games.
No, but I don't even mind that. That's in other leagues that I've been in, they don't wash the pennies the entire season. So that's Eagle knows what I'm talking about. But there's some kind of weird brown stain on some of them. I don't know what happened.
That is unpleasant.
That is unpleasant. But those pink jerseys also don't breathe that well. I'm just putting that out there. for next year.
No, good to
New
know.
pink jerseys.
New pink jerseys, exactly.
New pink jerseys. I don't mind the pink. We're all masculine enough and confident enough in our masculinity to wear pink, but let's get thinner ones. All right, guys, this is it. We've made it to the last division. We're going to the P League. Let's jump right into it. My phone works.
Awesome.
There we
Awesome.
go. Okay, here we go. So, P League. It's a bit of a smaller league. We've got 8 teams. We've got the boys at the top. Then we've got IGA Dorval, Die Hard Hockey Club, Montreal Royals, Backdoor Bandits, Relais, La Brigade, and Broad Street Bullies. In this league, I believe it's 6 of 8 that make the playoffs.
Top 2 with the bye, I think.
Yeah.
And top 2 with a bye, exactly. So right now, the ones with the bye, and it's looking like that's probably the way it's going to end, is the boys and IGA Dorval. And then the teams that are fighting for that last spot, I would say Broad Street Bullies, La Brigade, Relais, even Backdoor Bandits kind of have to be careful too.
Oh, it's insanely tight. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
top to bottom, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the top 2 teams maybe have a bit of an advance, but from seeds 3 to 8, it's very close.
It's insane.
Yeah.
As a league organizer, this is what you love to see.
Yeah.
And after we were getting live scores from Julie and the manager at the arena tonight,
Yeah.
and we have some huge upsets that this thing just got completely.
Okay, lay it on us. Even though they won't, like, people will know this when they're watching it, probably by the time this is posted.
true.
But you're breaking the story for us, so
Yes,
let's
right.
hear it.
So the boys' perfect season is over. They lost to the team that I'm going to say is the dark horse here, the Montreal Royals, 5-1. That is not just a close win. That is
That's a win.
That's
with
a
a
win.
capital W.
That is exactly. Couldn't say it better. And then you had Broad Street Bullies beating Die Hard Hockey Club 6-3.
That's a big
and
game.
Backdoor,
That's a big game for the Broad Street Bullies.
It's huge. And on top of that, La Brigade loses to Backdoor Bandits. So all that together.
So throw out everything that I just said before.
Exactly. I mean,
I'm looking at the standings here. I don't know if these are.
this is
no longer any good.
No, exactly. It really depends on what Relais does against IGA Dorval. A very good team. Relais has been on a tear the last couple games. I mean, that's 3-2-0 because the last 3 games I think have been wins.
Yep.
If they beat IGA, this who knows what's going to make
Relais
this
Broad
playoffs.
Street on July 23rd and Relais Die Hard on the 30th.
Exactly.
Big, yeah.
It's big. It's anything could happen here.
This is a division that I mentioned last week. My brother's team started in. And my brother wanted to have a competitive season and his guys to have fun, so we moved up to the J, and I think that's a good placement. But I saw Montreal Royals play. They have some guys that played a really impressive level of minor ice hockey. And I think when we played them the first game of the season, I think we beat them 6-1 or something like that. But you could tell that the skill was there. They
Vito DeVito is a beast.
They didn't really get the floating blue line yet. There were some little things they had to adjust. That's a big thing I wanted to mention is when guys that play a really good level of ice hockey come to ball, doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be great from the start.
Agreed.
But once they get it, usually you can count them.
And that's a great point, Chris. That Montreal Royals case, right? They didn't start off amazing out of the gate. They were middle, lower of the pack.
Yeah.
But Anthony Russo, the captain, is like his most engaged captain I've met in a long time. He's really into it, really focused on competing at a high level, and it shows now. Like they just beat the first team to beat the number 1 team who was undefeated.
Look out!
Exactly.
Coming to playoff time, like you said.
They bring a large bench, so they have the bodies.
They do 3 full lines, I think.
3 full lines.
Yeah.
So it's they're going to be a very, very tough team to beat in the playoffs.
I'm seeing Du Bois as a team that when we were in this division to look out for. They're a team that is led by Jeff Howells, a guy that we've mentioned time
His numbers
and time
are
again.
insane this year.
Numbers are insane. The guy's got a 1.43 goals against average. He doesn't play not anymore.
Maybe he wasn't there. Maybe he wasn't there.
No, I saw him at the arena. He was there.
He doesn't play in some of the higher leagues anymore, which is understandable. The guy's like a 20-year veteran in the league, but in these levels, the guy is
he's going to be a 2-time Hall of
He's so
Famer.
unorthodox with his style that when you're shooting on him, he's effective in what he does. You know what I mean? And not only that, but he's managing the team. So him
and Don,
Curtis Cornway and Willette and the guys like this are having great seasons.
No, they're still one of my Vassals there too. One of the most likely to emerge as a champion in this league. I think that the Montreal Royals beating these guys could be a signal to the other teams to be, hey, they can't be beat. They're like the New England Patriots when they're undefeated.
Yeah.
There's a kink in their armor now, and the Montreal Royals exposed it.
Yeah.
And that just gives the other teams that hope, like, hey, you're not invincible. Now people are going to be looking. I mean, you said it yourself when you're looking over your shoulder, you're looking at Montreal Royals more than the boys.
For the most part, yeah.
And I think that's going to, I'm really curious to see how this team, because again, regular season is one thing. It's very easy, I would say, not very easy, but it's easier to beat Du Bois in a regular season when they're already 10-0-0 than when it's a quarterfinal matchup or a semifinal matchup and they know they need to win.
Yeah, and they're coming into that.
Exactly, because there's just going to be a little extra aggressiveness. There's going to be a little extra, physicality that comes with the playoffs. Our Montreal Royals are going to be able to adapt quick enough
in time. Yeah, another team I saw being where I thought they would be is the Broad Street Bullies. This is another team, like I just spoke about, guys coming from ice hockey, and notice they had some ice hockey players. We played them, and they weren't really adapting well to the ball hockey style. But they had a big win tonight too. I think, Sean,
they did.
You saw before
against the Die Hard. That's huge.
My uncle actually won 2 cups with the Flyers, so I'm glad to see that. To see Broad Street get that win tonight. The Habs are my team. Flyers are still my second team. Just going to make that clear to all the viewers watching right now.
It's a bit difficult. They're not exactly like the most friendly fan bases either. But you have a good reason. Of all the reasons possible to be a Flyers fan, having an uncle who won a couple cups.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. It's a good one. I'll accept that one. Are you okay with that, John?
The commission.
Give me a ruling.
The seal of approval.
He's good.
All right, so good.
A couple of teams I wanted to ask you about, Sean, that are surprising me. First of all, I know Backdoor Bandits came into this league.
Yep.
This is a team that's led by Matt Lafleur, who's a friend of the league and who does so much for the league.
Yep.
But you look at the players, like I was checking it out. You got LaRoche, you got Lorraine, you've got a bunch of guys that play on some of his other teams that I'm looking at this now, and if I'd seen this before the season, I'd expect them to be up near first place. So to see them in 5th is a little bit surprising for me.
Yeah, I would say the 2 surprises are Backdoor and La Brigade.
Yeah.
I mean, Backdoor... I don't know what it is.
Did you read my sheet here before that?
Yeah. No, well, it's true, right? It's the reality.
He might have, because you guys were prepping, and I saw he wasn't looking at his paper the whole time.
Okay,
just putting that out.
So the truth comes out. Yeah. But La Brigade with a similar roster to Handfix, with a guy like P.O. Jones and GP Dominic.
And
some serious players on the team.
And JP Beauchemin is the goalie, right? That's I know Max well, the captain, and they always know JP is the backstop of that team. He gets them pumped up.
Yeah.
He often calls the timeouts to get the team woken up at one point in the game. And that reflects in their goals against, but their goals for, clearly that's where they're
I think Handfix are similar roster.
Exactly, it's the same team effectively, right? And that's what they have to solve that problem going to the playoff. But I've seen them do it. I've seen them go against high-powered teams. They just play that shutdown game, get their 1 or 2 chances, the breaks, and they capitalize on it.
Yeah.
So the record is surprising to me. I think there's some games and teams in here that, I mean, going into this, I had them basically pegged head-to-head with Die Hard.
Okay.
Die Hard's 3rd. They're 7th.
Yeah.
So something's happened.
Speaking of Die Hard, nice to see a team that's used to playing at Laurent coming into the 5-on-5 and doing reasonably well.
And it's funny, I speak to Jeff a lot, and he was saying that he still feels like more comfortable on a 4-on-4 surface. Yeah, I look at his record, I'm like, dude, you're doing fantastic.
Yeah. And it's a very different game.
It's completely different. You can't.
You're scoring from behind your own net in Laurent. The ball hits the net, it's still in play. It's things you got to get used to. It's a little more physical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I do find that 4-on-4 players, if they do it well, and what they have an advantage over 5-on-5 is the endurance, and I mean the short burst of speed. Like Laurent is very anaerobic, like you're sprinting.
It's aerobic versus anaerobic.
Exactly, you're sprinting a lot. So what Die Hard does is they bring the bodies.
Yeah.
So you're doing short bursts of intensity the entire time, right? And that's their game. It does very well in 4-on-4, and that's what they're doing here. But they're just not used to probably their power plays numbers are not fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, their penalty kill is great because that's what they do.
If they keep that up, they might be another team to look at taking out the boys here.
And you always want to look at people who do the little things well. And when you're playing in a 4-on-4 league, it's a lot more close quarters, right?
Yes.
So winning battles is huge there.
Yes.
And it's much less about a foot race or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that can come help them if they're in a good position once the playoffs start.
Yeah, no, I think as a team, they've transitioned very well. They're beating some like to be ahead of Backdoor and La Brigade is very impressive.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we're at 42 minutes or so I think that's officially we're in overtime now.
Yeah.
So let's jump into who's not going to make it. Let's make some enemies, guys. There's 2 teams that won't.
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's La Brigade and I don't know. Right now, after what you just added to us, it's actually changed probably.
Yeah.
But from the bottom teams, who's not going to make it?
I don't see La Brigade pulling it off with the back of goal scoring that they have.
Yeah.
And it's despite the win tonight, I'm trying to see who. It really depends who Relays play next week. I'm trying to see it here. I'm not sure exactly who they're playing.
Well, I had a Relais playing Broad Street on the 23rd, so I believe
there you go. That's the
playoff. That's what it's going to come down to.
That's right. I had it between those 2. I think Backdoor are going to make it. Broad Street, they need if they don't stay out of the box, I don't think they're going to make it. And
they really are playing like the original Broad Street Bullies, right?
They are, and I think that's going to be the difference maker for that team.
See who their Dave Schultz is out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody checks one of them into the board so hard it breaks.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Relay has been on a bit of a roll.
Yeah.
Their game tonight against IGA, I wish I knew the score. That's going to be, if they get killed, you almost got to go for Broad Street in that game, going for a bit of momentum, beating a good team for next week.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it. I think La Brigade is barring a major overhaul.
I do like the experience on the team though, so I'm.
So who are your two teams on the outside looking in?
Well, I'm going to say that Broad Street, from when I saw earlier in the season, and knowing that they do get into some penalty trouble sometime, I'm going to say that they're not going to make it in, but I'm going to say that La Brigade does. I mean.
Over who though? Backdoor or Relay?
No, I think they're going to make it in over Relay. I think Backdoor's got too many legitimate scoring threats on their team to not do. But I just like the roster of La Brigade. I feel like they've had the experience to get in. They have the goaltending to just win that one game is going to be interesting to see. I will say this though: if they do get into the playoffs, and they really can be a team that will upset.
I agree. I think if of those three teams, if La Brigade gets in the playoffs, they will do the most damage.
Yeah.
But they just got to get there first, and I don't know if they have the pieces right now in place to do that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
A great league. Well, obviously we covered 4 great leagues, but this one seems to be the tightest one of the 4 that we discussed. Still, there's always fun playoff races to follow up. Who finishes at the top, who finishes at the bottom. Thanks, guys, for being on this episode. Another great episode, Chris. No sophomore slump, which is great.
Yeah, no problem.
So now you got to restricted free agencies coming up. You got to angle for that big contract. But next week, Sean will be back.
Yeah.
We're not sure who the third person will be yet, but we'll have an idea once next week rolls along. I will be back, and I think that will be my last episode. So before I'm on hiatus or fired or traded or bought out, probably because I have a monster contract.
Yeah, exactly.
But thanks to you guys. Thanks, Sean.
You gonna wear a suit next, Chris?
Definitely not. Do you feel the heat? I don't understand how you guys aren't dehydrated right now.
We're good.
All right, well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks to everyone from the NBHL who's given us all their feedback, all the players and everything. We appreciate it. Keep it coming. You can hit up Sean on Facebook, I guess, and at NBHL_official. Yep. You can, Chris, I don't think he has an official NBHL Twitter one.
At Chris NBHL.
At Chris NBHL.
Yeah.
Chris with a K.
Yes, sir.
It's always good to point that out because it's not, And you can find me somewhere if you want on Facebook, or you can find me at Cramerica Games.
Yep.
We could use some fans. That's it from us here at the Third Period Podcast. We will be back next week, but until then, Sean, did you get it this time?
Get what?
Stay classy, MHO.
There you go. Wow. How do you always screw this up?
I don't know, man. I need the cue cards behind Chris.